So I'm a writer, and I want to, my main objective of writing is to encourage people, encourage the young people, not to beat themselves down, but to encourage themselves in the Lord that there's a gifting that God has put in you. You can use it for the extension of the kingdom and also to give you a livelihood.
What are the challenges?
Okay, challenges are there, and one of the challenges is the desire. It's not a desire. You want to quit because maybe you meet a lot of hurdles across. So if you're not focused, you can give up. So the challenges I had with my book is that when I drafted the details I wanted to put on in the book, but the issue of writing and making it consistent and the timing, because I'm also unemployed, was against me. But I had to sacrifice. I had to give myself. I could sleep late. I could go an extra mile. So the challenges are there mainly to pull us back because you get tired. Sometimes you get tired on what you have started doing. But with the Lord being on your side and avoiding the side shows, or avoiding you have to work with your hands, if I may say. You have to be strong enough and courageous enough to ensure that which you want to do, you do. Yes, there'll be challenges, but if you are focused and God is on your side, you will be able to do it. But first, know your gifting and know what God is calling you to do. Or know your strengths and be able to work on that, and God will help you.
Thank you. As it is written that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And we can see in our midst, we also have the young ones. So they can tell us a story about business. Thank you.
Hi, let me introduce myself again. My name is Stephanie. I am 22 years old, and I'm a chef and musician. I play the violin. I play in bands around Nairobi. And as a young person in business, I would say that it's something that I would really advise the young people to do, especially at my age, because then you have a lot of ground and you have a lot of opportunity to expand yourself, to expand your business. You have opportunity to learn new skills, so that by the time you're reaching the age of 30 and beyond there, you already know what your strength is. You have focused on, you've done your SWOT analysis, and you're aware of yourself as a person. So being my own boss, quote unquote my own boss, has helped me to realize the things that I love to do and the things that I don't love to do. Like, I wouldn't want to be employed currently because, of course, of the current economic situation that we are in. For me, as a chef, it was very difficult during my internship to find myself, or to want to find myself in that environment, because it's tough on the physical body, it's tough on the mental persona. And for 6 days of every week of my entire life, I would be required to be working in the kitchen for 8 hours. So that was really not my dream, because I want to be the kind of person who will create job opportunities for other people who are my age, or people who are growing up and want to find themselves in the industry. So, yeah, I think that's all I have for now.
Thank you. As you can see, she was very intentional on what she wanted to do. So I think that is what we can pick from her today. Over to you.
So Aline is my name again. Why business? I always knew, so to speak, that I wouldn't necessarily work an 8 to 5, because I just wouldn't see myself giving my time to someone else and then just spending my whole life basically working for someone else. I'm making them rich, myself poorer. That wasn't making sense to me. That wasn't making sense to me. So I took time off praying. I went to school. No, I didn't. I went to school. So that wasn't the issue. But for me, it was always the thing of I am enriching someone else. Because it's not my time, it's their time. So for me, I prayed on it and I got into business. So I tried everything. I tried cooking, I tried sewing, I tried crocheting, I tried many things. But then when I ended up with Tupperware, that's the t-shirt, it was something that I found said what it meant and did what it said. And for me, that was a winner. I always wanted something that would understand my passion. I am a person of, I believe, integrity. I say what I mean and I do it. So this item was doing exactly what I believed in. If it says it will keep your food fresh, it kept it fresh. If it said it's airtight, it's airtight. If it said it's liquided, for sure it's liquided. So for me, it was, oh my God, I found something that works. So I was willing to sell it because I didn't have to do the talking. The item did the talking for me. So for me, that part of the business was really nice. And then to make it better, I can do it from anywhere. Like Steph has said, my time. So I can sit in the house. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I can do business. I can log in from anywhere and conduct my business. For me, that was a win. I had always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So this did not interfere with my being a stay-at-home mom. I could do my business and be there for my children. Oh, mark you, I have 3. So in case I don't look like a mom, I am. I know she said young ones. You thought I was 16. Yay, I'm not. I have 3 children. But being there for them, they come from school, they find mommy at home. And it's not interfering with my time with them. For me, that was a winner. I always wanted to be that. So a business that could provide me, tick all the boxes for me, was a plus for me. And the other thing was I really prayed on it. I really didn't want to get into something and then let it go. I wanted something that would glorify God and also be there for family. So Tupperware did that for me. So that for like we've all said, I believe, in conclusion, was we wanted something that you've prayed on and God answered you through this way, so you just don't fall into it. That wouldn't be very wise. You pray on it and the Lord leads you into it, and therefore the Lord uses it for his glory. Again, it's for his glory, it's not for us.
Hello, Marlene. You told us you have 4 children. How do you balance?
Wow. Personally, even as I appreciate, first of all, a little bit contradictory, I appreciate our employers, for sure. Because my employer gave me experience, they gave me the wisdom, and I used that to better myself. So at some point, I also had to take away their richness and now declare my time. But of course, prayers came first. I had to pray through it. For a mother of 4 walking out of employment, it freaks you out. But I had to take the courage and move out. Reason being, I normally believed in dropping and picking my kids from school. So with employment, I found some bit of tussles because I had to keep the child waiting after work to pick them, so it became a bit tricky. But after 15 years, I had given myself a target, by the way. I know we don't say our age, but I gave myself a target, and I said at this age, God help me, open my eyes, help me listen to you, and then when the time comes, I know it is time. So that's how I balance in between it. Right now, it's easy to balance. When you work for yourself, it's easy to balance. Believe me, it's unlike employment of 8 to 5. Right now, it's very easy to balance because you're your own boss, like they say.
All right. Thank you so much, our panelists, for that insightful thoughtfulness regarding business and your experiences, besides a plus about your family, how they're blended in the business environment. So we want to thank you so much. Take your seats, please. The key highlight from the panelists has been a place of prayer, a place of being intentional, a place of appreciating also the career. So it's not just, they did not just wake up. Some of them had to go through the career path. And we really appreciate the background, the various background. And our young ones were very distinct that we don't want to go the career ways, but deep dive into business. But besides that, they prayed about it. So I think that's the highlight that we can take up from the panelists. Next, I'm about to invite our mom, Rachel, again, to just invite the speaker. Thank you so much. Please clap for her as she climbs up the stairs.
As she comes. Karibu, karibu, karibu sana.
Thank you very much for that panel. And my take-home message is that you have to have the passion, and God must lead you, and you must work hard. So I'm here to introduce our speaker to us. And our speaker today is Mr. Vincent Ogutu. He's going to speak to us on kingdom principles in business, excellence in service, and integrity in action. Vincent is a believer. He's a founder of Entrepreneurs Corner, an online entrepreneurial ecosystem connecting entrepreneurs with opportunities. He is a chairman of Fortaleza Investments Limited and a business coach under Volvo Valuable Observations. He's an avid writer who shares his thoughts frankly. He is a training consultant on retirement planning and personal finance for retirement benefits, an area he has worked for 4 years. He currently trains on resource mobilization and effective chairman's management, as well as Biashara Club for KCB. According to Dr. Wahome Gare, who is the CEO and founder of Personal Finance Academy, he says that Vincent has an ability to research, observe, simplify, and communicate complex issues in a manner that is easy to understand and execute. And that is what he has come to do this day. He's a publisher of many books. One of them is Life is Like That, Sacked So What, Escape, Experience Freedom, Lessons from the Streets, The Comeback, and he holds a master's degree in entrepreneurship and currently pursuing doctoral studies in the same discipline, that is entrepreneurship with interest in business ecosystems. His second book, which says that who are the top billionaires in Africa, won the African Christian Authors Book Awards in 2022, awards in the business and the finance category. And therefore, help me to welcome Mr. Vincent Ogutu to speak to us this morning. And as he walks, I'll pray for you, Mr. Vincent. Our Father and our God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. We appreciate you this morning for your faithfulness and your mercies, O God. Thank you, Father, for providing a speaker for us in this WM, O God. I pray that, Lord, that you shall give him the Rhema word, O God, that you shall give him clarity as he speaks to us, O God. And even our hearts shall be open, our minds shall be open to receive what you have prepared for us as you use him as your mouthpiece, O God. We pray that, Lord, that our businesses and our intention for businesses shall not be the same again. And for this we pray, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen. Karibu.
Welcome to this month's Women's Ministry Fellowship. We are tackling kingdom principles in businesses, and to speak to none other than Mr. Vincent Ogutu. He is a believer and the founder of Entrepreneurs Corner, an online entrepreneurial ecosystem connecting entrepreneurs with opportunities. He is also the chairman of Fortaleza Investments Limited and a business coach under Volvo Valuable Observations. He is an avid writer who shares his thoughts frankly. Join me in welcoming Mr. Vincent Ogutu.
Good morning. Do you feel blessed? How many are in business? Great. Wow, where do I start? Where do I start? I start at the beginning. First, I would like to say that I'm not the Vice Chancellor of Strathmore University. We happen to share the same name, a bit of similar background, because we were all born in Mathare, and you all know that Mathare is a place that there are not very many opportunities. And through our different journeys, we have realized that there are two things that will always change your life. Apart from having God, good education or business can change your life. Who believes that education or business can change your life? If you have both, you are blessed. If you have both, you are blessed. So I'll start with a scripture. The next slide. We start at the beginning. I was advised to start at the beginning. At the beginning, we have the book of Genesis. True? True? And what was the command? They were blessed. Help me. They were blessed and instructed to do what? How many of us have been faithful to that? Multiply. From the few presenters who are at the podium, there is evidence that we are actually multiplying. But there are some of us who have refused to multiply. But I would like us to have a totally different dimension, but still in the same line with the instructions. We were asked to go and multiply. To multiply is to become productive. And you can become productive in a number of ways. One, you can increase the size of your family. The other way, you can create something. You can create a business. You can do some farming. That's production, true? Okay? So those who are in business and are producing are in line with the scripture. True? After multiplying, what were we asked to do? To increase. Which means that we compound, we grow what we have. Do we really grow our businesses, or we like them tiny? Hello? We have to grow our businesses. So first, be productive. Then multiply. And multiplying, there are several ways that we can do the multiplication. When you are in business, when you get your returns, or the income, or the revenue, or the profit, there's a concept known as compounding. And compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. Compounding is... So when you get whatever you get, you need to be intentional for you to actually change your life. So how do you become intentional? Just tell yourself 20% out of the profit that I get from my business. The first 10% will go to the church or to the creator, in compliance with the instructions. And the next 10% need to go into some saving, where you build a pool of resources that you can use to expand your business or do investments so that you generate wealth. So are we getting where the multiplication and expansion comes from? It comes from compounding. You don't eat everything. Some of us, when we see money, it has to be expensed. True? No, we need to care for the business. We need to care about the instructions that we were given. And we need to care about giving back to society. How do you give back if you don't become wealthy? Because when you are wealthy, you are able to give. I'm not saying that it's only the wealthy people that need to give back. We are under instructions to take care of the poor, the widows, and the orphans. True? Are we under those instructions? Ama hiyo ni kazi ya serikali? Hello? Ni kazi ya serikali? Sio kazi ya serikali. Then, fill the earth. In the entrepreneurship or business realm, filling the earth is being able to be the dominant business. It is sad that majority of the Christians' businesses don't dominate the environments that they operate. And that's a misnomer. We don't have a voice in the marketplace. We need to have a voice in the marketplace. And how can we get that voice in the marketplace? We are going to find out shortly. And we are also given the instruction, we need to subdue, we need to dominate, and we need to control. So if you are in business and you are a believer, the instructions from the beginning are very clear. The instructions are what? Are we going to follow the instructions? Are we going to follow the instructions? So that is our reflection point, and it will guide our delivery. Next slide. An entrepreneur, before we discuss the business principles according to the kingdom, I would like us to be on the same plate. Others talk about a business person, others talk about an entrepreneur, others are more complex, they call it entrepreneur, those who can speak French, and we actually don't know what it means. So, as you instructed that we need to start at the beginning, an entrepreneur is a problem solver. It's a person who looks at problems and views as an opportunity, flips them, and creates a solution that the market needs, and they reward him for the value created. So an entrepreneur is a problem. And bearing in mind the instructions at the beginning, there's a Jewish word known as sadakim. Sadakim means the righteous ones. The righteous. So if you operate under the kingdom principles, you are supposed to be righteous. True? And if you are righteous and you are involved in business, there is no way that you cannot be blessed. There is no way that you cannot be successful. And when you are a single person, it's known as Sadak. Sadak, one person. Sadakim, when there are many entrepreneurs. So allow me to probably give you some of the characteristics of an entrepreneur. He needs to be a person who is creative. Being creative is the ability to create solutions. Ability to solve problems. He's a person who is disruptive. You'll find that we are using a very long way to create business. Can you come with a more efficient, a shorter, more cost-friendly way that improves on the profits, margins for the business? It is cost-effective, and it's also profitable. Then they are distinctive. When you see a righteous believer doing business, you can actually know that this is a believer, even if they don't say that they are. Can you mention any Christian businessman who is extremely successful? Do you know any? Yes, who? Who? George Washuri. I expected that. Globally, do you know any? There's a Zimbabwean known as Strive Masiyiwa. Strive Masiyiwa comes from Zimbabwe. And with most of the African business environment, they are never friendly. They are people who ask for something small. But this Zimbabwean never believes in giving bribes. And he's on record to have said that he's never given bribes. I happened to attend one workshop where he was giving a talk, Strive Masiriwa, here in Kenya, where he shared his journey into entrepreneurship. Like many of us, we will normally start from employment, true? He's a trained engineer, a telecommunications engineer. He worked with the Zimbabwean telecommunications company as an engineer. And as many engineers, you will always get opportunities to do engineering jobs. True? Because you are being productive, in line with the instructions. And at one particular point, he wanted money, a loan, to do business. And the bank manager at that time asked him, how much are you putting in? Do you know he had no money to put in? But he was driving a state-of-art car. How many of us do that? Hello? How many of us do that? So the bank manager challenged Strive Masiyiwa. If you are able to sell that car, hello? If you are able to sell that car, I'll give you loan equivalent to the amount you'll have sold that car. And within a week, if you are going after something and you really believe in what you're doing, you will follow instructions. So he sold his car and he got credit and his business expanded. But he didn't start his business with a loan. He actually started his business with only $75, which is equivalent to about 10,000 or thereabout. But at the exchange rate of 100, it's about 7,500. How many of us spend that on coffee? Hello? How many of us spend that on coffee? It is loose change, huh? A business can be created with the little that you have. So we need to respect the little that we have. Start doing business, however small, it is going to grow. Then they are collaborative. Entrepreneurs are collaborative. We have seen the Somalis. The Somalis collaborate, and that's why they beat us. This individualism that we have as Christians is what is pulling us down and backwards. It is what is pulling us down and backwards. We need to learn to work together with other Christians, other like-minded Christians. Because as Christians, when we unite, based on the instructions and what we know, we can actually conquer the world. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? At the end, I'm going to share my story. Remind me to share my story. What I've managed to do working with others. Not alone, working with others. And entrepreneurs are very good executors. They are very good. They'll get an idea, do a research on what they need to do, and then implement. Review what is working, modify what is not working properly, and they are excellent executors. They are not the kind of people who will say, I'll do it tomorrow. Entrepreneurs in other cycles, they are known as, they have some madness, good madness. They are restless until what they are thinking about is implemented. Hello? They are not crazy. They are just abiding by the instructions. To be productive, to multiply, to dominate, and to control. Are we together? So, there's another instruction. Cultivate and keep. Wewe unafanya kazi, unapata pesa, unakula yote. What are you keeping? Hello, I'll hit hard. That is my nature. I talk frankly. If you are unhappy after 10 years, you will be very happy. Because at least you'll have implemented some of those hard-hitting statements. So as you cultivate, save. And as you save, the pool that you create, you can actually invest. And that is how you do what? You multiply, you dominate, and you control. I will talk about two types of cultures. The worldly culture that believes in just acquiring. We've seen people just acquiring. They never get enough. Apart from acquiring, we love prestige. We love what? And then, what else? Power. Because once you are wealthy, you are known. Watu wakiitu warambe, wanajua wewe utatoa. Even if you are not a believer, you will be called for the harambe. But what are the instructions from the kingdom? What are the instructions from the kingdom? We can use the kingdom culture, which is about being generous, being humble, and offering servant leadership. Always serving. Strive Masiiwa is an example of a godly entrepreneur who is generous. He's very generous to the church. He's generous to the orphans. He's generous to anything that uplifts humanity. And you'll never see him brag. You'll never see him. And he's among the $10 billionaires that we have from Africa. And is an example of how far a Christian believer can go. He started his business in Zimbabwe with many problems with the past president, President Mugabe. He crossed over to South Africa to continue with his business. I know many of you don't know his business. One of his business is Econet, which is mobile telephony, and is the brains behind Liquid Telecom that offers internet solutions. He started in Zimbabwe, he expanded to South Africa, he expanded to Botswana, he expanded to the whole of Africa, and now he operates in all the 6 continents. Can't you clap for a man of God? Abiding by the first instructions, be productive, multiply, dominate, control. Does he do that? Even you have that power. Even you. So, allow me to share a few ideas about the kingdom. We really need to understand the kingdom. The kingdom has only one king. True? And in your business as an entrepreneur, you are the organization's president. Yeah? You are the entrepreneur. True? Everybody else who comes in comes to help you deliver the mandate for the business. And with every kingdom, there is a place where the king stays. In our worldly setup, we have state house. True? In countries where they have kingdoms, there is a place where the king resides or where he rules from. And every kingdom has followers. Are you seeing the followers? And the last characteristic of a kingdom is that a kingdom has to have wealth. If you are a business owner, if you are an entrepreneur, you are the captain of your ship. Your business is your kingdom. Your business is your customers are your followers. Your customers are and your followers will give you wealth. Your followers will give you what? So don't look for money. Look for solutions Create solutions, create value, and people will reward you with money, and you will become wealthy. And every kingdom has rules. Every kingdom has. And when we operate under the same rules, there is no reason why we should not be wealthy. Next slide. Allow me to share 6 principles of business before we got into the principles of the kingdom in terms of business. Any business solves a problem. You never start a business to make money. You start a business to solve. If you start it from that perspective, you will do it the right way. And I'm very happy that some of us pray, they consult the master before they start. It is important to call in the number 1 shareholder into your enterprise so that you are protected, you are guided, and you are blessed. Okay? The second thing that you need in your business is people. And people is a wide space. It includes your employees, your suppliers, your bankers, lawyers, accountants, any service or anything that people bring to your business. So they follow that sequence. You need a problem. From the problem, you create a product or service. Then you need people to help you deliver the solution, the service, or the value that you have created. And the third thing that you need are customers. It is not money that keeps you in business. It is customers who keep you. Hello? Wale wanaenda kwa biashara kama wamekunja uso inakaa kama ndimu, tuache. We need to learn to smile. We need to. And when you smile, you talk in a good language, because customers mpaka wabembele. When you talk nicely to them, they'll go and say that you have a very good heart, and it seems that you're actually a Christian. So it's not saying that I'm a Christian that makes me a Christian, but what I do and how I behave and what others see. Hello? Munaona mali tunajikosea? Okay. After customers, what we need are processes or systems. Processes and systems, in simple terms, is how money comes to your business and how services and goods leave your business. So you need to have a way. If you are involved in manufacturing, how does raw materials come in? What is the procurement or standard operating procedures? How do you do the pricing? How do you know your costs? All those are referred to as processes or systems that enable you to run your business. And the fifth thing that we all need to know if you're doing business is to know numbers, know your finances, know your costs. Some of us don't keep records, and yet we believe that we are running a business. Do you think you'll go anywhere? Hello? If there was no KRA, some of us will never keep records. Hello? Keep records so that you know how you are performing. Because if you are taking an exam, there is always a report. True? And a business report is known as a balance sheet. A business report is known as a... And a balance sheet tells you historically what has happened. Whether you're doing well, whether you're stagnating, or whether you're growing. And you know numbers never lie. Numbers never lie. And lastly, you can talk about profits. I know majority of us go into business thinking that they will make profit from the word. Profit comes at the end when you have done the hard work. Are we together? Next slide. Next slide. That is me. I won an award. No, you need to have evidence of what God is doing in your... in your life. And the next slide is me training sales managers in China. That company has been in existence for more than 100 years. And I was the first Kenyan and the first African to export knowledge to that company. And dollars are sweet. I was paid. Next slide. So before, just something small. There are three things that you can use to create a business and to create value in the marketplace. One is your passion. And your passion is hidden in your talents, your giftings that have been given by the Creator. Everybody has gifts. Your goal is to find out what are your gifts. I know I have a loud voice, even without the microphone. Yeah? It's a gift. I didn't pay for it. But how I use it will determine whether I succeed or not. True? Others have been given the angelic. Yes? And they can sing. Can't they sing? They can sing. And if they decide to create songs, to create content that is musical, can they sell? Okay? So we can use our passions to create a business. We can also use our experiences to create business. If you are working as a plumber, or you're working as an electrician, or you're working as a teacher, you can use that experience to create a business. Lastly, you can use your knowledge that you have built over a period of time to create a business. So, with me, I used my passion, I used my experience, and I used my knowledge to create whatever business I'm doing. So I challenge you, ask yourself, go back and consult our Maker. What gift? What talent? And that is where you start. Many people have challenges. Where do I start? Today I tell you for free, go back and consult our Creator and ask, open my eyes so that I can see my gifting, my talent, so that that becomes your passion. Things that you do without struggling. Things that you do without struggling. And with that, you can create a business. Next slide. We start with the first, and the first principle starts with Abraham. Do you remember that gentleman in the Bible? He was faithful, he was trustworthy, and he was obedient. He was what? He was faithful, he was trustworthy, and he was... Najua mko na watoto. And somebody tells you, kesho, utoke na kisu, na huyo mtoto uende mahali nitakuone. Hello, how many of us can do that? Huh? And it's even worse. If Abraham shared with Sarah what he intended to do, you know the answer. Huh? You know what would have happened. So he was what? Faithful, trustworthy, and obedient. So what can we gather from the story of Abraham in terms of our business? First and foremost, you need vision. And vision is given by our Maker. He will create dreams, which to us might appear, oh, I'm dreaming about this. No, your Creator is talking to you. You'll create visions that are not visible with the open eyes. Because there are two types of vision. What you can see and what you can imagine. Which one is greater or which one is bigger? So it's good to dream, it's good to imagine. It is good to dream and it's good to imagine. Do you know that when you are faithful, you are trustworthy, and you are obedient, your promises are always delivered? You as an entrepreneur, do you meet your side of the bargain in the agreements or contracts that you engage in? It's part of the principle. Because if as Christians, we decide to operate under the principles of the kingdom, where we are faithful, we are obedient, and we are trustworthy, will we change this country? Hello? I never believe in complaining. I never believe. Have you ever heard James Mwangi complain about the economy? Hello? Have you ever heard George Washuri complain about the economy? You can excel as a Christian entrepreneur, whatever the ecosystem that you operate. You can excel in any ecosystem that you operate. Because you remember the righteous ones. When you are aligned with the kingdom, blessings will always come your way. Risk management. Today we'll talk about insurance. But during Abraham's time, what did he have? Apart from God, he had a militia of 318 men trained in war. If you don't believe me, go back to your Bible and look for that number. 300 and? Au walizaliwa lini? Now for somebody to grow up to 18 years where you can go to battle, it takes a strategy. It takes a vision. It takes leadership. And Abraham had that. And you remember that he delayed to have children. That one did not prevent him from excelling, from being faithful, from being trustworthy, and from being obedient. And lastly, he was productive. Do you believe he was productive? He was a keeper of livestock. He was a keeper of, and whenever he went to battle, he came back home with blessings. Because when you remove your enemies, the gold they have, the silver they have remains. And in battle, that is what happens. So he was faithful, he was obedient, he was trustworthy. So can we have those aspects describing us as Christians in our business? Because if we are not growing, there's something that is not aligned to the kingdom principles. Are we together? Next. Do we remember Moses? Do we remember Moses? Moses was brought into the world because of a specific purpose. So the second principle of the kingdom is purpose. Each and every one of us was brought in this world because of purpose. And if we can identify our purpose, we are going to excel. If we can identify our purpose, we are going to. And what do we do as business people? We always give ourselves limitations. You say, I cannot do that because I don't have the funds. And what are you doing to actually get those funds? Hello? We need to ask ourselves questions differently. I don't have the funds necessary to deliver the project that I want to deliver. What can I do to get the funds? Which people do I need to incorporate into what I want to create so that I become successful? And Moses, when he was told that he was going to talk to Pharaoh, like majority of us, you'd like to postpone the problem. He said that he's a stammerer. He has got a stutter. Do you remember that? What excuses do we give as Christians when we don't want to do something? If you don't do what you are instructed or created to do, utachapwa. I tell you that for free. If you don't do what you are created to do, utacha. And I know this very well. I'll give you 2 examples from my life. You've heard that I have a master's in entrepreneurship. And when I used to look at the newspapers, a number of companies were closing and people were being fired. And something used to flash in my face saying that, Vincent, you can do something about this problem. These people were getting fired. How can you give them hope? How can you give them new direction? Because mwisho wa kazi sio mwisho wa kui. There is so much life at the end of employment. Hello? There is so much life at the end of. So that kept on happening for about 6 months. And there was one time I went home after teaching in Kitui. After having dinner, there was no sleep. And then the flashing message, Vincent, do you remember this? Do you know I had the book title 6 months before, Sacked, So What? And I was hesitant to do it because nilikuwa nasema hii ni ujinga. Hello? When there was no sleep, I remembered these are instructions. If you don't do it, somebody else will do it and you will be punished. It took me 6 months to write a book. And within the 6 months, I've been selling that book for the last about 6 years. Who is benefiting? And the people that I'm empowering. True? It was an instruction that I almost ignored. I'll give you another communication that came my way. Last year, I think in November or October, somebody told me, write a book about kingdom principles in business. And the talk I'm giving today is a confirmation that I have to write that book. Because this didn't just happen. I listen, no. Yeah? That was a confirmation because it came in out of the blue. And the title is the same. Kingdom Principles in. So I can promise you today, in the next 2 years, I'll have that book. Building partnerships. Moses said that, oh, me, I cannot talk because of a stutter. What happened? God told him, Awendi mahali. Awendi? And God gave him Aaron. And Aaron was slightly older than Moses. Did you know that? Aaron was 83. Moses was 80. But the instructions were coming from God to Moses and Moses to Aaron. So hakuna kutoroka. You can never run away. Kama umemulikwa, umemulikwa. Then we have to build resilience. The life of Moses shows resilience. Munakumbuka aliwachwa kwa river in a basket. Hello? And anything could have happened. And then what happened? He was picked by the kingdom. Taken care of by the kingdom. And when the time came, he found a Jew, an Egyptian fighting. Where did he practice how to fight? Hello? Where did he practice how to fight? Nothing happens by accident. Some of these things are planned. That was the only way he could identify as a Jew. Because somebody said, when 2 Jews were fighting, he said, do you want to kill us the way you killed the Egyptian? And what happened next? He had to hide. And from hiding, he saw burning bush. Hello? Nothing happens by accident. Nothing happens by accident. So he has resilience. As much as he was trying to procrastinate, he has resilience. Next. The third principle comes from the principle of seasons. What I've discovered in life is that in life there are 4 seasons. Season of plenty, season of scarcity, season of struggle, and season of expansion. They never follow each other in any matter, but you are going to experience all the four. If you have not experienced, a time is coming. Because God really needs to test you. Are you really with Him? Am you only with Him during the good times? Although others are only with Him during the bad times. When times are good, we forget. Are you going to forget? Remember that life is made up of seasons. Season of plenty, season of scarcity, season of struggle, and season of exploration. And the life of Joseph in the Bible demonstrates that. He was loved. And when you are loved by a parent, you are given gifts. He was given a very nice robe. Yeah? And what did the brother say? Oh, when you umechukua love yetu utaona. What did he do? What did they do? They sold him. First, they wanted to kill him. But because we are created for a purpose. We are created for? So he had to live. So he was sold as a slave because he was going to make a way in future for the Jews to survive during the periods of drought, famine, and hardship. You remember the story. So there's time for everything. Time will actually demonstrate that principle of seasons. There's time for everything. The second is that the second point I would like to share is that there are always opportunities to advance yourself. True? Joseph was given the gift and the talent to interpret dreams. The brothers didn't see the usefulness of that skill. True? Pharaoh experienced the usefulness of that gift. And because of that gift, he moved from prison to being a prime minister. Hello? Because God does not give you fruits that you cannot use. We need to ask ourselves, how are we going to use the fruits, the talents, and the gifts that we have been given? And you know, when good things are happening to you, you have to be tested. Do you remember Pontiphil's wife? Hello? But Joseph stood firm because he was operating under the principle of being righteous. Sadak, you remember? So when you are righteous, your things will continue happening in the right way. Even if you have some temporary inconveniences, they will go away within a very short time because you are aligned with the master. So you have to sacrifice as an entrepreneur. You have to know what to forgo in order to get what you want. Others forgo their sleep in order to get what they want. Others are forced to give bribes. You can choose to operate under the kingdom principles and say, me, I don't bribe. If it is a must that you have to collect a bribe from me, it is not coming. You can stay with the business. Do you know you will survive? Hello? Sometimes it's God testing you. Are you really grounded? Are you really? A person asking you for a bribe, tell them that you are going to pray for them. You might be surprised that things will just change. Maybe he has got some hardship that the prayer will take away. And you will get the service. Instead of giving a bribe, you have given a prayer. Next slide. The fourth principle comes from the story of Esther. How many know Esther in the Bible? Esther was a queen, was a Jew, and was beautiful. And men, when they say beautiful, they know what A person who is beautiful, how? Yeah? Anameremeta. Huh? Anamere? So there was a problem. The Jews were under a threat in the Bible. And their threat came from a gentleman known as Haman. And there was a Jew who was slightly elderly, who knew the story of the Jews, known as Mordecai. And Mordecai refused to kneel before Haman, because we are supposed to only kneel for him. Kweli? Kweli? And because of that small conflict, the whole population of the Jews was going to be killed. And Mordecai had got no way of saving his people. He had got no way of saving his. And there was just one little chance. There was one that had a lot of difficulties. And that was through Queen Esther. According to their policies then, a queen cannot go into the king's dwelling without invitation. And Queen Esther knew that very well, that what she was going to engage in was very risky. And what did she do? She asked the Jews to fast and pray for 3 days. To fast and pray. For how many days? What was the purpose of praying and fasting? Is consulting the Maker. Eh? Make what is impossible possible. Make what is possible. And at the end of the 3rd day, Queen Esther, dressed in the queenly elegance, went to the king. And the king happened to be positioned in a place that he could see the queen approaching. And as men, when you see a queen approaching, you will respond. He beckoned the queen, the kingdom. There was a risk, but the risk was eliminated. The risk was, and he asked the king if he could come for a banquet. And in that banquet, come with Haman. True? Keep your enemies close. Keep your. And as they were celebrating, kuna kuwa na sherehe. When they were celebrating, the king asked, Queen, what do you want? Even if it is half the kingdom, we are going to give you. And he said, Tulia. Tuliza boli. And they were asked to come in the next day to continue the celebrations. And what happened within those 2 days? The king remembered that there were 2 guards who had planned to eliminate King Service. Had planned to eliminate King? And it's Mordecai. Who did what? Who saved the king through Queen Esther. And the king, having gone through the records, remembered, was Mordecai rewarded? He was not rewarded. Anasema, tenda wema nenda sa? And king remembered that this person was not rewarded. So when Haman came, Haman was asked, what would you do for somebody who has done so well for the kingdom? And he thought it was? It was himself. And then he proposed the best of the best that you can ever get. And then he was given instructions to go and prepare the same as he had enumerated for Mordecai. Do you see how things change? Do you see how things change? So in business, we need to have courage. We need to have to execute even the most difficult. A business has to survive. As an entrepreneur, if your business does not survive, it means that you have to do something else. So we need to be focused to concentrate on building our business, because a business starts on a shaky ground. You grow it by ensuring that it has cash flow, because cash flow is the blood of business. Cash flow is what keeps you in business. It allows you to meet short-term obligations for your business and long-term planning for your business. So any business needs cash. And whenever you are cash strapped, you need to ask yourself, what are the ways that I can use that are legal, are Christian, to keep my business in place? Lastly, collaborations. If there was no collaboration between Esther and Mordecai, would that one have happened? So as entrepreneurs, we need to look for people that can help us build what we are building. And as entrepreneurs, employ people who are more educated than you are, who are more skilled and gifted than you are, because that is the way that you will increase the capacity and the capability of your business. You increase the capability and the capacity of your business to grow and deliver and excel. Strive Masiriwa is an engineer. Does he know accounts? Hello? Does he know accounts? He might have a rough idea, but he might not do the debit and credit. So he will look for the best accountant money can buy to be able to give him the right numbers for his business. So as an entrepreneur, you look for opportunities and you remove barriers to your business so that your employees can excel, can produce, can help you create wealth. Next. The fifth principle comes from Solomon. Do you remember Solomon in the Bible? Was he prayerful? Hello? Was he prayerful? Of all the people I've mentioned, from the first principle, second principle, third principle, and fifth principle, there were people who prayed, there are people who gave offerings, there are people who gave tithes. If you don't believe, go and look at your Bible. Go and look at, because all the 6 people I've talked about, they prayed, they fasted, they gave offerings, and they really believed in God. As much as they might have a little deficiencies here and there because we are all human, to a large extent, over 90%, over 95%, they were aligned to the kingdom. Are we together? So with Solomon understood the principle of stewardship. We need to understand that when God blesses you with wealth, it is not for you. You are just a steward. You are just a... If you take care of the wealth that you have been given, God will give you more. Because when you have more, you can be more generous, continue staying humble, and offer servant leadership. I would challenge you, nowadays everybody has got internet. Go and Google the story of Strive Masiyiwa and the things that he has managed to do with the wealth that he is generating every day. He supports orphans, he supports widows. You see, it is very good, it is very beneficial for everyone if you can be wealthy, because you are a steward. Because from the wealth that you have, you can give scholarships. Are you making the world a better place? Yes, because you are taking care of God's people. There is no way that you can serve God and you are in business and you are faithful and your business does not grow. Either it is your attitude or something with you. It is never with the Creator. Because if God has given you an idea for a business, for example, let's take the story of George Washuri. George Washuri is a born-again Christian. He operated under the principles of the kingdom. And his first seed, 5 million shillings that he had saved for 10 years, melted. He was character developed. Hello? He was? And he picked his Bible, because now he couldn't pay for his office. He picked his Bible, a notebook, a pen, and mobile. And he transferred his office from where it was to Uhuru Park. And when he was discussing with the Maker and his Creator, that if you bless me again, because we need to have faith that these challenges are temporary things. If you bless me again, a portion of the wealth that I will have generated, I'll use it to build your kingdom. And faithfully, from that time till today, 5% of all the wealth that he generates, he supports orphans, he pays school fees to the needy, he builds homes for the old, and he is very generous in supporting church-based initiatives. Is he operating within the kingdom? And he did that for 20 years, and then he was conned again. He lost 200 million. Hello? I know this because I talked to him, and I wrote about him in one of my books. So it is not absence of problems. Those problems make you a better person. Those problems make you a better person. It does not mean that because you are a Christian and you are doing good business, bad things will not happen to you. It is how you respond to what happens to you that determines your success or your failure. So the principle of what? We have to be stewards. We have to be stewards. Next slide. This is the last one, the last principle, and it comes from the story of Job. Do you remember Job? Was he wealthy? Can you estimate how wealthy he was? About how many millions? I would like, any guess? Oh, let me help you. With what he had, the sheep, the donkeys, the camels, and the oxen, I did a little math before his challenges. He was worth approximately 350 million. How many of us are approaching that? Okay? Then he underwent all those problems and all those challenges. And he was rewarded twice what he had before. And again, I did a calculation. And after all the challenges, what he had was multiplied. And he was worth more than 700 million. Almost a billion. Because we were only counting the livestock. I don't know if he had gold, or he had silver, or he had land. You see, he was a billionaire. Those times. He was a billionaire. So what do we learn from the principle of trials? Trials are there to make you better, not to discourage you. They improve on your capability to solve problems, and the more problems you can solve, the bigger problems you are going to experience. Because God is building you so that He can use you. So you need to have values. Job had values. Hata bibi alimwambia, wewe na Mungu wako, si ukubali tu. Wanasema kubali yaishe. Hello? Munasemanga kubali yaishe. And he was obedient. He was faithful. And he knew Mungu wake hawezi kumwacha. Despite all the problems, he believed Mungu wake hawezi And was he blessed? And how come sisi tukipata shida kidogo tunalia? Ni kama dunia yote imeisha. We need to look at problems differently. Let's look at failure and problems as opportunities to build our capacity so that we are able to excel in the future. God is preparing you for the future. Whenever you undergo difficulties, He is building you for the future. He wants to see, are you really loyal? Ama unaweza kuwa kigeugeu. Hello? Challenges are part of life. Temptations are part of life. How we respond to those challenges is what matters. How we respond to those challenges is what? Is what matters. Before I continue, I would like to recognize Damaris. I happened to work with Damaris in my earlier life before I went into writing and other things, when I discovered my talent. And there's something about working well with people. You never know where you're going to meet again. So I worked with Damaris for quite a number of years. Damaris? Okay.
Stepped out.
No, not a problem. There is also another member from your church, Ruth Ganira. We also happened to work. Yuko? Ah, yeah. So you never know the kind of connections that can follow you as God builds you. She said something. Maybe you can come and say what you said. Yes. Come. She said something that I was so surprised and I didn't know. I didn't? Okay.
What was that?
I don't know.
Okay. Oh, praise the Lord. Yes, I worked with Vincent in one of my pharmaceutical companies that I've worked in. And I can't remember what I told him, but I remember talking to Ma'am Paris when I saw the advertisement that Vincent was coming to speak to us. And one thing maybe that stands out for me, when I went for the interview where Vincent was one of the managers, I had just, the company I'd been working for previously had wrapped up and they had left the country. So when I did the interview with Vincent and the whole team, I remember later on now when I was able to talk to Vincent, you know, when you join in, you're still scared and you can't be able to talk. So later on as we interacted and we were working together, he told me that by then, right now I don't know, but by then, he had never interviewed somebody who had maybe God's gifting as I did. He said I really stood out in the interview. So that's one thing I can remember. The other thing I remember is I am in a company or a chama, a private one, that we have been able to grow for like 15 years. And I remember that Vincent was one of the persons who was able to walk us through as we started as a chama, and now it's a company. And he brought us one of the managers that I'm in with and told me that this is the person you needed to work with. I don't know if I've forgotten.
Those were it. Thank you. So, tenda wema, nenda zako. Me, I did what I did, and I didn't remember until that phone call. And I was wondering, I say that? Because you cannot remember. Tenda wema. And as Christians, if you can do that, we can change this country. If you can tenda wema, we can change this country. So, we remember Jacob. No, not Jacob. Job. From 300 million to about 700 million without counting his other wealth. So, was he producing? Was he producing? Was he multiplying? Was he dominating? If you compare him with Abraham, is there any difference? There is no difference. Is there a difference? So all God's people operate under the same principles. All God's people operate under the same principles of faith, trust, obedience. And all God's people are generous, are humble, and they provide what we call servant leadership, where they are willing to serve without even being recognized. They are willing to serve without being recognized. Ndio tunasema tenda wema nenda za. So long as you have done the right thing, all is well. As I conclude, next slide. A few take-home messages. Not very sweet for the year, but all the same, I'm going to share them. When you see those from that picture, what do you see? You see some struggle. Those are military officers undergoing training. You suffer in training, later you enjoy the work. So what I'm trying to say is, first and foremost, ask God for your purpose. That needs to be your goal. And it serves as the core of your existence and the core that will drive your success. Once you have identified your purpose, recognize that pain is an asset. Pain, we need to change the way we look at pain, failure, and challenges that we experience. They are meant to build our capacity. They are meant to make us stronger so that we are able to deliver our mandate according to the instructions from our Maker. Then pain has a price. Pain has. When Joseph ran away from Potiphar's wife, what was the result? Prison. Without that prison, the dream that he interpreted for other king's workers, he would have no connection with the king. Do you get that? So we need to look at pain differently. Don't pray that this pain needs to be given to somebody else. Change your prayer that God can give you the strength to overcome the pain. Is it that a better prayer? Hello? Isn't that a better prayer? Fourth, we need to protect our businesses. Protect your hustle. Abraham had 318 militia, men trained for battle. He is on record to have gone into war with 5 kings, and he won. He went to battle. Just imagine this somebody who is very prayerful, and this somebody who is gifted in war. It's like some form of contradiction, eh? But you know, those days when you had livestock, you had to protect them. Cattle rustling didn't start today. Yeah? Ilianza? There are people who want what you have. There are people who want. So you have to protect what you have by taking insurance. Tuko pamoja? Take as much as you believe in God. Take. Because sometimes we burden God with simple things that we can take care of. Ukikataa kuoga, do you blame God? Hello? Ukikataa kuoga, do you blame God? Okay, I think the message is home. Then we need to be stewards of the kingdom. Whatever God has blessed you with, use it, multiply it, and help God's people. The more God's people you help, the more God is going to bless you. I see James Washuri giving scholarships to needy students. I see James Mwangi starting the Wings to Fly. He is supporting orphans and needy children. Once they get that education, when they are at the university, when they need internship, James Mwangi will gladly give them an opportunity to gain experience. Just come and think about it. When these people are employed in other organizations and they need a financier, where will they go? Hello? Where will they go? I'm not holding a brief for equity. I'm just stating a fact. An example that we can all follow. Because all these things are interconnected. All these things are You give, you collaborate, and everybody gets better. We have better employees because they have got good education. When we have better employees, we have better results in our organizations and our businesses. Remember the two cultures. We have the worldly culture, where there is possessions, power, and prestige. We need to adapt the kingdom culture of generosity, giving, of being humble, and servant leadership. Whether you are being paid or not, offer leadership. Because leadership, there is no school. It's something that you learn by doing. It's like swimming. You cannot learn swimming online and become a swimmer. Next slide. As I conclude, let us learn to work with each other. Let us learn to work with. The Somalis are beating us because they are able to work with each other. I will share with you a short story about Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an African concept that says, I am because we are. I am because we are. There is collective ownership. Collective? So the decisions that are made within the community, like the Sitam community, it's a community. It's an Ubuntu. You are part of Sitam because many of you are part of Sitam. It's an organization. If you start supporting entrepreneurs within your ecosystem, will they have business? Will we reduce on character development? Hello? There are always solutions to all the problems that we experience. The only problem that has got no solution is death. Hello? That one is final. Finito. There's nothing that you can. But so long as you're still breathing, so long as you're still living, there's something that you can do. So with those few remarks, my name is Vincent Ogutu. It was a pleasure to engage with the Sitam Karen community. I've written a number of books for... Oh, my story. That was smart. So you actually listening? Yeah, that was put there by purpose. So allow me to share. I practice what I preach. I figured out that there are things that you cannot do alone. You can, but it might take longer. You can, but it might take. And we have this Kenyan concept known as Chama. If we adopt the Chama movement and decide to professionalize it, we can achieve much, much, much more. So 2019, me and some of my fellow dreamers, we decided to come together and do things jointly. Do things? We didn't know that COVID was going to come. Hello? But we maintained. We kept together and we continued contributing. Others became impatient and decided to live. So kama uko kwa chama na kuna wale wanataka kwenda, wacha wae. Don't say oh yeah. You will still survive, eh? Maybe it's a problem being eliminated mapema. So we actually started active investment during COVID. I gave a call to one of our trustees and told him that from history and economics, I've learned two things. Whenever there are problems, there are always opportunities. And the opportunities were in the stock exchange, where shares were going down at a very fast rate. And you know, sometimes people delay because they have to consult so much. And I was wondering, what are they consulting about? Whenever there are problems, it's always an opportunity. Maybe that somebody you are consulting is good to consult, but maybe he's more fearful than you. So he'll spread fear. Me, I was wondering, there's no rocket science. If we lose money, it's fine, we are still alive. We'll make it tomorrow. But if we get the opportunity, we would have benefited. So the 2 weeks delay costed us some amount of money. We invested about $250,000 at the onset of coronavirus pandemic, where the shares had gone rock bottom. Do you know how much return we made that year? 39% in 1 year. Huh? From 2020 to 20? And then people are saying, oh, the stocks are doing very well, we need to go in. And I say, oh no, you are late to the party. You are late to? You need to get the opportunity at the right time. I talked about the aspect of time. So we started investing in 2021. The audited accounts at that time was about 4.7 million by that time. The following year, we had hit about 13.25 million. Last year, audited account shows that we are about 20 point something. And our target for this year is 30 point something. And next year, we are looking at 46 point something. So when you join hands with other like-minded people, and you do things the right way, pay taxes, compound your earnings, you will go. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana.